Welcome back. In this exercise 7 on dependent sample t-test or peer sample t-test, we'll be looking forward to this question 1. So this question 1 will be solved today itself, and we'll be doing question 2 and question 3 as a part of assignment this week itself. And I will be giving you solved video on question 2 and question 3 by the end of this week. So let's first of all discuss question number 1 of exercise 7, look at the issues and try to solve it in SPSS. So coming to the question, the impact of campaign film on attitudes toward a political candidate was investigated. Prior to showing the film, the attitude of 15 people towards the candidate was assessed using a political likability scale. After completing the scale, the participants were shown a 20-minute campaign film in favor of the candidate, and then they completed the likability scale a second time. The scores for participants across the two administrators of the likability scale are reported in figure 1. Scores range from 20 to 100, with higher scores indicating more favorable attitude towards the candidate. So we are talking about a campaign film on attitudes towards political candidates. We are investigating what is the attitude of people. We had about 15, you can say, people or participants or respondents, and we were just seeing what was their attitude towards political candidate before watching the film in the scale of 20 to 100. So that was there, which was talking on how people look at these political candidates or what the attitude people have towards the political candidates. And after seeing the film, again, you can say we are measuring the attitude of people, these 25 participants, towards the political candidate. So we have got the same respondents that remains the same, but we are seeing pre and post attitudes of participants towards the political candidates. And we know that as far as dependent sample t-test is concerned, we are basically having the same set of sample, and we are checking on two different measures which we have taken on two different time zones. So that is what you can say independent sample t-test basically is, dependent sample t-test basically is. Now coming to, you can say, the questions. Here we have got, you can say, two variables, before film and after film. So that is the variables we'll be using. We have to, you can say, state the null and altered hypothesis, state the research question, and we have to see whether at alpha is equal to 0.05, that is at 95% confidence interval level, does the attitude, you can say, change after seeing the, you can say, movie or so the film campaign. What is the effect size? We have to see whether the effect size is small, medium, or large. And then maybe you can say we have to write the result in the APA format. So that's the question before us. So what we do is we simply move to the new share where we'll be having a blank SPSS file before us. So this is the file before us. I have moved to data view. We've got variable view and data view. In variable view, what I do is I paste the variables, and this is what I've pasted. I've pasted the values there. So I have pasted the values there. So that's done. And since I've placed the values, but the variables are being shown as variable 5 and variable 6 itself, what I'll do is I'll rename it. Okay, so as the question said, it was before film, and attitude, let me label it now. So let me label it attitude of participants towards political candidate before viewing campaign film. So that's there. And measure, I'll not be writing because we know as we are moving, you can say, towards 100, from 20 to 100, we are actually, you can say, having a high score coming up. So that's not to be written. I'll simply be moving to scales. You can say measure. Measure happens to be scale. Second is you can say after film. So that's there. And what I'll do is I'll simply, you can say, copy this only. I'm sorry, I've got something wrong right now. So here it is, attitude of participants. You can say of towards political candidates after. So this becomes, instead of before, it becomes after. So this is it. And these are, this again, the measure happens to be the scale. So that's given to us. So that's you can say that's before us. So that's the data. So this is the data view. Now coming to the analysis part, we go to analyze, we go to compare means, we go to paired sample t-test. We also call it dependent sample t-test. So we click on it, and this is what we have got. So attitude of participants before will come here, and attitude of participants after watching the film comes up here. We click on OK, and that is the answer we are getting. Taking you, you can say, to the new share. I'll be moving you to the output file. So it is share, and this is what we've got. So these are answers we have got. So since this is, you can say, attitude of participants towards political candidates before viewing the campaign film, and attitude of the participants towards political candidate after viewing the campaign film. So that's given to us. We've got the mean. So actually you can say people had a mean, you can say, rating of 54 something, you can say, before they actually saw the film. After they've seen the film, the rating increased to 60 something. So there has been an increase. We are seeing an increase, and we know sample size is 15. We collected data from 15 participants, and then standard deviation happens to be 15.67 something for, you can say, before you can say watching the movie or the film, and 17.53 something after watching the movie. As far as the correlation is concerned, look at the correlation. Correlation suggests that there's a significant relationship. It's very positive relationship that comes up. This means that people who are having a high attitude, you can say, are still having higher attitude, and the progression you can say moves in the same way for the people, you can say. So if one was having a lesser attitude, um, he remained with lesser positive attitude towards the political candidate. So this shows that, okay, fine, there's a very positive, you can say, relationship between, you can say, the attitude prior to the watching film and after watching the film towards the political candidates of the participants. So this is what is being shown. So correlation comes up very positive, not to be, you can say, taken up much in a way, because this is not a part of our analysis right now. So we'll not be using it in the analysis part. Then let's look at, you can say, the paired sample t-test or dependent sample t-test, the answer that is coming to us. Mean comes to, you can say, nearly 6. It's exactly 6 to be very frank. And why it's coming as negative, let's be very clear on this. It comes to negative because the you can say the numerator happens to be low as compared to denominator. Therefore you can say the mean comes to be negative. But then we'll not be, you can say, taking it as negative. We'll be saying the difference happens to be 6. The difference between, you can say, before and after watching the film is, you can say, happens to be 6. So that's the difference. Okay, and standard deviation is 5.73. Now if you look at the questions, let's start with, you can say, the hypothesis first. We have the null hypothesis and we have the alternate hypothesis. A part I'm talking about. Now talking about null hypothesis, there's no difference in the attitude of participants towards the political candidate before and after watching the campaign film. H n colon mu before film minus mu after film equals to 0. Alternate hypothesis, there's a significant difference in the Attitude of the participants towards political candidate after watching the campaign film. H A colon mu before film minus mu after film is not equal to 0. So that is A part. Coming to B part, we have to write down the research question. If you look at the research question will be, is there a difference in the attitude level of participants towards the political candidate before and after watching the campaign film? Question mark. So that becomes the research question. Coming to part C, we have to do the hypothesis testing. And if you look at the value of T over here, the T value comes to, you can say 4.054. Degree of freedom is n minus 1, 15 minus 1, 14. And significance happens to be 0.001. So it is highly significant. The confidence interval level happens to be 99.9%. That's there. Now, talking about this answer of question C or C part, the T value happens to be, you can say, taken up as minus 4.054. But we'll be just writing T is equal to 4.054. Why? Because if you look at, you can say your actual answer and the mean score before film, watching the campaign film, the mean score was 54 something, after it was 60 point something. So since you can say it is increasing, number one, it's okay, number one. But then had we put before film at the top, after film, you can say, sorry, after film at the top, before film at the bottom, that is, you can say numerator would have become, you can say after film, denominator would have been, you can say before film. The answer would have been, you can say 4 plus 0.54. So it doesn't matter, you can say whether the minus symbol is minus or plus, because the way you can say the variables are being paired. If you can say denominator is being paired as numerator and numerator is being paired as denominator, the symbol may change from minus to plus and vice versa. So symbols do not actually matter. So what it'll say is, for C part I'm answering, the hypothesis, the alternate hypothesis is accepted at T value of 4.054 at degree of freedom being 14 and significance of 0.001. There happens to be a significant difference in the attitude of participants towards the political candidate before and after watching the campaign film. So that's C part. Coming to D part, where we have to talk about the effect size. I was just, you can say, talking on the effect size when we talked about mean. So mean difference is coming as minus 6, but we'll keep it as 6. Mean difference happens to be 6. What is first, what is second is another thing. Before film is the is the initial value. The second value happens to be after film, and therefore the answer is coming as minus 6. But then if we keep, you can say after film first and before film second, it will become, you can say, plus 6. So it doesn't matter. So we'll be just writing 6. 6 divided by 5.73. So that is what we are doing. And when we are doing it, the answer comes to, you can calculate the answer, but I just did it in my calculator. The answer comes to, you can say, nearly 1.05. The answer comes to nearly 1.05. And if you look at, you can say D value, D is equal to 1.05. This is supposed to be very, what do you call it, high score. And the effect size happens to be large. Effect size happens to be large, and that is what the answer is. So you can just look at the notes also, see the things over here, and then you have the answer that the effect size happens to be large. Now coming to the last part of the question, where we are talking about the interpretation of data. Let's write the interpretation. So I'm just speaking the interpretation now. Attitude of participants increased from the attitude they had before viewing the film, within brackets, M is equal to 54.13, comma, SD is equal to 15.68, bracket close, to after watching film, within brackets, M is equal to 60.13, comma, standard deviation is equal to 17.53, bracket close, comma, small t within brackets 14 is equal to 4.054, comma, p is less than 0.05, comma, small d is equal to small d is equal to 1.05. So that is how the answer is going to come. I suppose you will be able to, you can say, read the question on your own, and definitely you can say you can solve the question. So that was about this exercise, and hopefully you can say you will be able to solve question 2 and question 3 on your own. Good luck to all. Thank you.